So, welcome everybody. My name is Cindy Myers, and my website is yourenergyhealer.com. So, if you'd like to find out more about my services, you can go to that website. And tonight, I'm actually not going to have some main topic like I usually try to do because I really want to go to the demos as quickly as possible because I find that we learn more through the animals than we do listening to me blather on. But but I do want to go over a couple things that are happening and just some of the basics of how I work. And so, but before we get going, um, if you have a medical emergency with your pet, please call your veterinarian. But what I can do for them is provide energy support so I can help release some of the trapped emotions, uh, rebalance their chakras, keep their energy flowing as best as we can to help with their anxiety, their discomfort. It just can help support them while you get into the vet. So I know sometimes, especially these days, it can be challenging to get into a vet right away. So that's where the energy work can help just buy you some time and hopefully keep everybody calm and again their energy flowing as best as we can while you get them to a vet. And then with aggressive animals, it's really important that you work with a certified trainer. Um, the aggressive animals, it's just not enough just to clear trapped emotions. The habit, it needs to get retrained, and you do need a certified trainer to work alongside your with you to solve that issue. So with that, let's get into well, before you talking about me, I actually am gonna talk about this and then it's kind of related to uh my background a little bit. I just found out about this symposium a couple days ago. It's a multi-species research symposium that you guys might be interested in, and I'll include the link to it in the email that I send out with the replay because I think a lot of you might be really interested in this. It's a several day symposium, and it's really focusing a lot on uh, animal communication and it's through an actual university. It's uh, the University of Saskatchewan is organizing this event and having a number. They're actually, what was really exciting was to find out that they're actually researching not just animal communication and how the animals themselves communicate with each other, but they're actually researching people like yours truly and how we can communicate with other species. So they have a call to for papers or presenters actually, and so keep your fingers crossed. I did submit an abstract to do part of one of the talks, so I'm waiting to hear back from them to see if they will accept me as one of their speakers. But if you've ever heard of Anna Brighton Bach, I hope I'm saying her last name correctly. She's the animal communicator, quite a famous gal from South Africa that's communicated with what was it, the Black Panther, leopard, something like that, an animal that was really struggling. Her video is just caught the went viral, and she became quite well known for her work with the animals in Africa as an animal communicator. So she's one of the keynote speakers in this multi-species symposium. So again, and it's if I recall correctly, it's really quite nominal for how much participation in days of talks there are, so you can get a lot of bang for your buck. So I'll include the link on this because this is something I'm very passionate about, and I've been my nerd side comes out because I'm very excited that they're actually doing somebody's actually starting to research in a scientific method. As a matter of fact, writing the abstract caused me anxiety because I'm not a sciencey person that way, and in documenting things and in a scientific method at least. And so they really are very professional about how they wanted the the abstracts and all that. So um, anyway, it's very exciting that traditional science is really getting into the research of stuff that you know what we all know that works. That's why we're here, and you've witnessed it and experienced it with your own pets that animal communication works. But exciting to see that science is catching up with what we already know. So I will send you that link probably in the next day or two. So with that, I will talk about what happens when your pets do have uh, anxiety and stuff, and emotions. And actually, the topic that I submitted is one that I think we have all, unfortunately, have had to experience. But it's the universal language or the universal motion of grief. And I find that all species, most species that I've worked with, at least, do have experienced grief in different forms. And so my goal is to present several case studies on the different ways animals and us humans, how grief has impacted us in different ways, and how being able to communicate with the animal can help both us and them dealing with grief. So, uh, and I think if and when I was thinking about it, other than fear, grief is probably the strongest emotion that any of us can experience. It's very powerful, and because it's so strong, it can get stuck in into our bodies, into our tissues, because it's a huge amount of chemicals that get course through our body when it's an intense grief, when there's an intense loss. And so what happens is those chemicals, emotions are just chemicals that our body creates to relate to an experience we're having. So we have a master chef in the brain. All species have this. And again, when there's an experience happening, when there's a thought, a memory, an emotion happening, those chemicals are created and then they go through the body. The body must process out those chemicals or else they get stuck in the body, just kind of like food calories can get stuck in our bodies if we can't burn off all the calories that we eat in a day. So those trapped emotions can do one or two things usually. It can create a blockage in the physical body, and it can create a weakness in that spot. Then it can create an illness or be a weak area that is prone to injury. So it can be a physiological or physical problem, and or it can be create a behavioral issue. And so identifying those trapped emotions is really important. And then that's where I come into play, that I know how to release those trapped emotions, and then I can communicate with the animal if it's a behavioral issue, what we do want them to do, or explain to them. For if it's a grief issue, can explain to them a little bit what's happening. So if they've lost a mate, say, a buddy, they can get confused and experience the grief themselves. They can be a very strong emotion if they themselves are experiencing the grief. They can grieve over the loss of an offspring. They can grieve over the loss of a human companion, and it doesn't always have to be where the person dies. They can get move away. If you have kids and they grow up and they go off to college or something, they move out of the house. The animal can experience grief because where's their big brother or sister? They're gone. So that can be a form of grief. So but then again, and it can be very, very confusing when circumstances like that happen. So removing the trapped emotion is important and explaining to them what's going on. So, so if when I first tap into a pet and I'm building a bond with them, the first thing I like to do is actually release some of the trapped emotions. They better than us humans work with it, and they can usually feel better right away by having those emotions released, and that builds their trust that and the bond with me to allow me then to, whenever I communicate to them, they accept it a lot more readily. So it really improves the connection between us by just releasing trapped emotion. That's usually like how I like to start working with an animal, and you'll see that when I do the demo. But I also like to give you some tips on what you can do. It's one thing to hire me, and I'm happy when you hire me. But I really like when it's important that you can do stuff every day with your pet, especially if they have a health issue or a behavior issue. What you do with them is just as important as me releasing those trapped emotions because you're the reinforcer of the good. So one thing that you can do for them, especially if they're experiencing anxiety or physical issues, is just breathe. Because when we get stressed out and worried about them, we tend to breathe more shallow. And they're picking up our pets are very good at receiving our what emotions we're transmitting out. So if we are transmitting worry and fear type of emotions, then they're going, see, I know that there's something to be anxious about. But if you start breathing more fully, that calms down your own anxiety. They pick that up. Now you're transmitting a much calmer energy. Then they go, okay, maybe it is that feels better. Animals are very good at going to what feels better. We humans tend to not be as good at that. But our animals, if something feels better, that's where they'll choose to go more often than not. So by breathing and slowing your own respiration down, being calmer, that feels a whole lot better than being anxious. So they will hopefully follow that lead of being quieter and more calm too. They'll absorb that quiet energy. Um, so I like to add in when I'm breathing, kind of like a mantra, peace and calm, because that's what I'm wanting them to experience. So now my master chef in my brain goes, oh, peace and calm. I know those chemicals. So I'm going to course those through my body. And so now am I not only transmitting that calming breath out to them, but that peace and calm frequency. And the animals know exactly what that is. And again, they will be more likely to experience that. I see it with my alpacas a lot, especially my males, if they start tussling with each other. If I just breathe and send out peace and calm, they stop fighting. 9 times out of 10, especially if I catch it early, they will stop fighting. They will stop spitting at each other if I do that because that feels a whole lot better than being angry with each other. So it's amazing how powerful just doing that simple little technique. And then with your dogs or cats, you might just do some gentle petting of them. And the lighter, the better. It's not about massaging. Massaging can actually stimulate them, and that's more adrenaline based. And we want to trigger the calming system, the parasympathetic system versus the adrenaline based one. So by petting very gently, you can add a little bit more into that calming system for them. And I do also like to just turn everything else off. And I don't necessarily turn the TV off or anything, but I mean, I focus totally on my pet when my dogs or my cats, my alpacas, when I'm giving them energy, when especially if they're upset, I just want to be 100% focused on them. It doesn't usually take that long. So if I'm just petting them, looking into their eyes, smiling, loving on them, sending them love, sending them peace and calm energy, petting them lightly. They respond in kind. They will give me direct eye contact. That's one of your signs that they're accepting the energy that you're giving them. And this is energy work, believe it or not. It's just, we're just talking about it as breathing, but it's energy work. But, and one of their signs that they're getting is they'll give you direct eye contact and then the eyes will soften. So those are some of your indications that it's working. And you can just also feel the tension in their bodies relax. And you know what? I do it just as a matter of course. Instead of petting them, I'll switch over. I'll swap back and forth. If I'm petting them, I'll switch over to the light touches and breathing and sending them peace and calm. And there's real. Not only does that help me, it feels really good and it calms me down if I'm anxious, but also it helps create a Pavlovian response in their system. Again, we want to turn those chemicals and get those chemicals pouring through the calming chemicals pouring through their body as quickly as possible. And so if we do it as a matter of course, just when we're enjoying each other's company and not waiting until, oh, I need to do that, the nice touches and the breathing and the peace and calm when they're anxious. When we do it when we're just enjoying each other, it creates that Pavlovian response. So when they are anxious, their body can override the chemicals can override the fear brain. The thinking brain does takes much longer to kick in when that fight or flight response system is going. So do it regularly. It's good for you. It's good for your pet. Alrighty. So if you need some support with your animals, um, I recommend animals' attention span doesn't last very long. So usually the 15 minutes is more than sufficient just to clear. If you've never worked with me before, then we might need to use the starter package. But you folks that are on today and that I'm working with your pets, we could just do the 15 minutes because I'll get to know you and your pet. And again, we can get a whole lot done in 15 minutes in clearing their trapped emotions and communicating with them. It really helps support their body as well as their mental state. And with that, let's see. Want to get into um, what I have coming up. So this Saturday, I have a healing circle, just a healing circle, no webinar with that. It's at noon Pacific time. And then next Wednesday is another healing circle. What I want to let you know, there's something brand new that I'm doing. It's a Heal the Healers group. It's on Zoom as well. It's the last Thursday of the month, or the fourth Thursday of the month. In this case, it's the last Thursday, February 23rd at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And this group is geared towards anybody that winds up taking care of everybody else, that you're last on the list and it's hard to get support. You know, most of us caregivers, people see us as always the giver of a good care and healing energy and support, and because we're so good at it, they forget that sometimes we need support. And for us to be able to be really good at what we do and being a good caregivers and good healers and good at whatever we do for others, um, sometimes we need some support ourselves. So this hour, I try to keep it at an hour, and this group is all about just taking care of you, filling up your tank, really getting into your authentic self, into that feminine side of our brain, which is more about just taking care of us. So there'll be more information out on that. It's on my website as well for you to sign up, and there is a $30 fee for that, but it's hopefully we're going to build a community of helping each other, help all the healers out there. We're more vital than ever, and we have to take care of each other so we don't burn out. And then the other thing, the end of this month, it's on going to be on a Sunday this time, is Introduction to Animal Communication class with hosted by Jen Weigel. We've been doing these now for several months, quite a few months now, and we've been selling them out. So we're doing another one, and that one will be the Sunday, February 26th, noon Pacific time. And I'll send you the link. It isn't on my website that you sign up for that class. It's through Jen's site. So I'll send you the link on how to sign up for that class. It's I hate to jinx myself, but we've had 100% success on helping people communicate with their animals. We actually use my alpacas as well. And again, it's all on Zoom, but we have very good success in teaching you how to communicate with animals. And again, that'll be the end of this month for that. All right. So if you have any questions, um, I don't see any questions in the chat box, just some comments. But we can get right into the demos here. So, Polly, if you could unmute yourself, I have Rico.
Hi.
Hi.
So Yeah, that's his photo.
So how can I help Ringo?
Um, he's pretty good. He had an injury to one of his legs back about 2 years ago. He broke his leg
Oh,
and he limps a lot on that same leg.
okay.
And he doesn't like being alone at all.
Okay. And is that new or has that been always?
He's a COVID puppy, so
Okay.
he's just, we've just always been here. We do have another dog, um, that is home with him, but he just seems to get more upset about being left alone.
Yeah, that's unfortunately one of the downsides of the COVID is that we folks didn't get their their new dogs out to socialize them and get them used to us being gone. Uh, my guys, same thing. Even though I've had them prior, although I got one right before COVID. I had to work with them on getting them used to me going away for different lengths of time. So yeah, that's a very common issue.
Hmm.
Um, so let me tap in and see what we can do for Ringo. Trying to see if I can feel which leg is bothering him. Was it a front or back leg?
Back.
Is it right?
Yes,
Okay.
his back right leg.
Okay.
Not, I mean, it's kind of, I called it his foot, but the lower
I was
part.
I was gonna say my toe hurts all of a sudden. So so maybe whatever broke.
He jumped off my deck and, could have broken his neck, but luckily he only broke a leg.
Yeah. Was it kind of like the ankle?
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm kind of feeling it on the outside of my foot now. Okay.
It's like the four metatarsals that start into the toe bones, I think.
Okay. So that makes sense. Because my toe hurts. All right. So let's see what we can do for Rainbow there. Well, panic. So the pain must have caused them to panic when it happened.
Yes,
Uh,
I panicked crazy. I failed the test.
yeah.
I failed the test. I panicked crazy, really bad.
Yeah, you both probably freaked out over it. So let's clear that. And a traumatic trapped emotion over it where multiple emotions hit at once. So I can't identify the single emotion that will clear the multiple emotions out of that. Some anxiety over it. Did he have to have any surgery with it or just
Luckily, no, no, just a really
have a
long time in a cast or
cast?
trying to keep a cast on him
Yeah.
for a splint.
Yeah.
It was a huge struggle.
Yeah. uh, and these guys don't understand that stuff at all. And did your other dog try and help take it off the cast?
The no,
Okay.
she doesn't care about him that much. He bothers
Okay.
her, so
He pesters her more. Okay. Maybe it's that he wanted her to help him take it off, but I heard that. So yeah, now I'm feeling a little bit higher. So sometimes when they have it um s- splinted for length of time, everything just the knee joints or the hock, whatever you want to call their legs. I'm feeling it in my knee. All get stiffened up and weak because you know it's just weak area because it's not being used either. While the things are things are healing. Oh, what can I do for you? Oh, it's more confusion, releasing that. So I will release abandonment. That's related to the attachment stuff. And unsupported, that's related to that, as well as the physical unsupported. Because his leg wasn't supported. So I would recommend you check out the modality called T-Touch, and it's TTOUCH. And there's YouTubes on how to do it.
Okay.
And just do those T-touches around his legs and back and hips and all that, because that can keep his cells getting moving better when it's when anything is splinted or in a cast for a length of time, you're not using it. So lots of uh energy gets stuck just because it's not moving. Our bodies are meant to move. And when
Mm-hmm.
you can't move because the bones have to heal, the cells are there's a lot. What I'm seeing is a lot of kind of scar tissues that are, dead cells that just didn't get to move and get cleansed out. With more session, a deeper session, I might be able to cleanse some of that out in a more deeper fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the T-touch can help do that as well. So I would try that. I do feel like I can move my foot better. So I would see if the limping improves after this. If it
Okay.
comes back, that just means more trapped emotions have gotten there. But I think with the T-touch, it'll be maybe a physical therapy kind of a thing too.
Okay. Because he was really young when he did it. So I was wondering if maybe that's just how he thought he was supposed to walk. Because
Yeah, it
he
could
had
be.
that one,
It could be, but
that
I think,
one
but I'm also
splinted for
feeling.
so long.
Yeah, I kind of feeling there was discomfort in there too. So,
Okay.
just anything that just it's if you definitely use things for a while and then all of a sudden it's just aches because it's
Gotcha.
sore. And that's what it
Well,
feels
thank you
like.
so
So
much. He looks
a lot of
very relaxed right now.
good. That's what we like to see. That's very common. Most of them fall asleep when I'm doing
Yep.
sessions. They like it. So thank you. Good to share it. And please let me know how he does. I'll be curious.
Okay. As
Okay.
cameras.
Uh, Lisa, are you there, Lisa? I think you wanted Lucy. Is that correct? If you're there, Lisa?
Yeah, hi. Yes, Lucy would be great.
I think I got Lucy. I hope I didn't mix them up. Did I get
Yep,
it
that's her.
right? Okay. So what's good? I know you said I've worked with Jezebel. I remember Jezebel, but what's going on with Lucy?
It's a similar story to Ringo. She's just had severe separation anxiety, and it's getting worse to the point that, I go to the mailbox and I can hear her barking and crying in the house, if I go to the end of the driveway, let alone go away for an hour or two. So just really wanting to try to figure out what's going to give her some comfort that I can leave the house and not let her feel like she's, you know, abandoned. Because she did come from a kill shelter. So I know when I first got her, there was a lot of anxiety about pretty much everything.
Right. Okay. So, couple of things that can help with that, and that might help Ollie too. Is a little training type thing where you kind of I, I like rituals sort of a thing where for these animals that have abandonment issues is when you leave one, I don't like it to make it a big deal. And again, you start worrying about them because
Mhm.
they're worried about you and oh my god, is she gonna bark off? Blah, blah, blah. So it's important to be very confident because she's there pick up your emotions. So if you're worried, that just says, yep, there's a reason to be worried. I'm scared. So it's important that when you go to the mailbox or wherever, it's no big deal. Just going to the mailbox because that is not a big deal, right? So you want to just think that no big deal type of thing. And I like to put them in a place that they like, tell them to, teach them to go sitting down. I like to do a lot of training with them, type of things, fun things, not just and it's not all food based either, but I like to have a special spot that they go to,
Mhm.
and say, you go sit here and I'll be right back. And then when they come back in again, I try not to make it a big deal. And I just, but I say hi to them.
Mhm.
But again, your energy is no big deal. But and I do it very slowly. Like I said, I had to train my guys that I to go into town or do things or stay longer. Once I started to leave the farm a little bit more, because especially the one, he never had me leave for any length other than the grocery store and back. And so for me to be gone for an evening type of a thing, that was a big deal. The first night to go out with friends or something, he had never experienced that. And there was some anxiety with that. So I had to work with him on that. And again, it was just trying to make it no big deal. Um, um, and I do have like a ritual of when I leave and when I come home. So whatever that might be. But for these guys that that have really abandonment issues and have come from uh their rescue animals like your like Lucy, you might even need to try the thunder shirt.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've tried that before.
Yeah, I did
Uh
try that, and she wanted nothing to do with it, believe it or not.
yeah. I know that sometimes happens. Anything new can be very upsetting. Too much space is a problem sometimes. So that's when I like to use pens. Get them
Mhm.
comfortable in a pen.
Mhm.
Uh, and that they hang out in the pen. I put them in the pen. Because they don't like dens. They don't. If you have too much space, they get more anxious because they're going running from one room to the next to the next
Mhm.
to the next to the next looking for you. So then their anxiety kicks in. But if they're in a contained area, and sometimes I'll even, if they're not bad chewers and destroyers, I'll even put a blanket over the top and make it quiet. So it's nice and dark. It's a den. And then I give them a goodie. I give them something to do. I give them
Mhm.
something, a Kong if they're good chewers, if they like to chew. I like to use baby food and put it in the freezer so it takes longer for them to work at it. So I'll give them the Kong before I leave. And then they go in the pen and they Kong. Mhm. And so I did that, and I feed them their meals in the pen just to get them comfortable with it, all the pleasurable stuff before I ever
Mhm.
go away. I want all positives. So this is their safe, wonderful place that only lots of good things happen. So then when it's time to go away, go in your pen, and then when I come back, now hi and let them out if that's a doable thing. Um, but I find a lot of times we think it's a punishment to keep them in a small area, but for them, it's actually not. It's especially a fearful dog. They look for a dense spot. They want to be in a bathroom or in a. My golden, when she gets scared, she likes to go into the bathroom or my closet, someplace closed in or behind my couch, something that's not open to everything. They want
Mhm.
to be contained. That is how animals want to be in a fearful state. They want to be in a den. So think about how that can be. The other thing you could do is leave her something that has your scent.
Mm.
So I I gave my guy a T-shirt when I brought my Great Pyre home. I had actually given the breeder my an old T-shirt so he could get my scent. So he wouldn't, when he came here, he wouldn't miss his siblings as much.
Mm.
And because he would feel comfortable because he already had my scent all over. And he knew it. And it was the easiest. He, he, he didn't cry once about or look anxious at all about missing his other home. So he settled in super fast by having just a simple thing like my scent available to him. Um, So let me clear some of the anxiety and the trauma of the past. It's a nice shift, confusion. And so for Lucy, yeah, your leaving is just, it's a PTSD response. So I'm telling her this is her forever home and you always come home. And that's something I think to them when you leave, I always come home to you. Always come home to you. There's a nice shift again. So you got a strong habit. It is a hard one to break. But you can do it. And again, just do little trips in the beginning, go outside, even shorter than to the mailbox. It might take you a few tries, but
Mhm.
every day, just go in and out and then be sporadic about the length of time. Take a little longer to the mailbox, take a short walk, come back, really practice coming and going for differing lengths of time. And before you go, you can either put her in in a contained space, or you can try that. Or if not, if you want to keep it as it is, just tell her in your mind, I always come home to you. They don't understand time too much. Sometimes I will tell them they're event driven. So when I do my virtual pet sitting, I will use nighttime sleeps if I'm going to be gone for, you know, more than a couple hour type thing. I still think about what is their day like. Oh, I'll come back during your second nap. I know their routine. So if it's during their nap, I'll be back before you need to go potty.
Mhm.
I'll be back before your supper. If it's going to be that length of time, I will be back. Trying to think about it, but I don't say it out loud. I think it to them. They hear that better than your outside voice. So you can do that and see if she doesn't hear that. Once they get triggered into their fear state, it's really hard. You can try. The other thing you might try are I tried these calming chews that I got from Chewy. Actually, they're from Nature Vet. Nature Vet is what they're calming. I'll include what I've been giving my golden when she gets really scared. Another one I use is the Bach flower rescue remedy, little in their water. If I've used that before, just to take the edge off. I don't want to drug them, but I just want to get the edge off and see if that doesn't help them deal with a little stress more. Um, and then hopefully with some of the removing of the trapped emotions that have helped too. And just letting them know that this is your forever home. You're fine. Nobody's you're not getting taken away and going to a bad place again. So
Great.
all right,
All great suggestions. Thank you.
you're welcome. But that's a challenging one. Okay. Let's do another one. Joy, I got yours with Roxy.
I'll pick her up.
You should have her picture. So I just lost my share screen. Oh, there it is. Oh, well, we can have her live.
Yeah,
That's even better. Even better.
come on, baby. Good
So
house.
in your note, you said Roxy has a little thing on her foot.
Yeah, on her left front wrist, a little bump that they aspirated on Monday. We should know something in 3 to 5 business days, but because it bled a little bit, they're a little bit worried about cancer.
Okay.
So I'm having a little hard time keeping myself calm, and so she may be triggered with that. She has some abandonment issues because her first owner died on her, and I've had her 5 months. She had a little bumpy time with the foster care system, but she's adapted really well. I think she likes it here, and I think she's very comfortable. She's certainly well behaved, and she makes herself at home with the different dog beds in the different rooms, and looking out the window in the front bay window and stuff. Say hi to everybody.
Okay. She's so cute. So let's see. Now, is it the right? You
It's
said
the left.
left. Okay, now I'm feeling it. All right, let's see what we can do. I don't, well, one, I don't diagnose, but I can't, that my skill set just picks up blocked energy. It isn't able to identify. I'm not good at identifying tumors and cancers. I just see it as blocked energy. So let me see what I can do, at least at relieving or whatever I can do to get the good energy flowing to those areas. So some abandonment, releasing that. There we go. Unsupported, grief. Did we communicate to her that her first person passed away?
Well, I did with another animal communicator. She told me that.
So she did know, she does know. Okay. Just want to make sure she knows that that person died.
I think she must have died in the basement. She cries when I go in the basement. She
And
said
she doesn't cry when you go to other rooms?
no.
Just a basement. Oh, interesting.
She said that the lady was carried out on a stretcher.
Mm. Yeah, so there's some panic on her part. Let me see that. Confusion. So I am picking up a little discomfort in her left shoulder blade area. You might, while you're doing that nice touching, just kind of do that gentle touch in that left shoulder blade area. It's like at the base, and into the rib. Oh yeah, and even in the rib area a little bit.
The front shoulder though, not the hip at the bottom.
No, yeah, the shoulder, kind of going into where the ribs are on the side.
She sees a chiropractor fairly regularly.
Good, good. That's good for her. So yeah, she's picking up your worry, so clearing that. Little nervousness clearing. And there's some licking. That's a sign when you see them licking, that's a release. That's a very common thing to look for when they're releasing. Her eyes, although still down, her body looks a lot more relaxed. Yeah, you can just let her. There's another lip. Good. Those are the signs we want to see. And there's another nice energy shift. Good. So she's got a good energy, pretty good energy flow right now. And hopefully we're gonna send some prayers. We'll put her in our healing circle. How's that? And so that we can get all the guides going in, and hopefully we can have good news that it's just, they do get these weird cysts and stuff sometimes, and they just need to get taken out and they're good to go. So that's
Got
what we're
a
gonna put out there.
smidgen of cataract in each eye, so I guess she's a little older than I thought, maybe. So I guess that's when they start to develop those other little bumps and things too.
Yeah. Yeah. So it happens. So hopefully it'll be good that way. Anybody else send me pictures?
Yeah, good girl. Yeah, that's better. Feels better. You like that energy? Yeah, good
Oh,
girl.
I've got Bianca here. And that was from Jan. Jan, right? Yeah. All right. Did you send me another picture, Jan, of
I wasn't able to get a picture of him.
okay.
I don't know if I can turn my computer around and you can see
No,
him.
it's all right. I'll go through you. How's that?
is-
I will put up
She's
there-
laying by me.
as I do have a picture of Bianca. I just don't have a picture of Tucker. But you
Yeah.
wanted me to work on Tucker?
Can you see him now?
Oops. I have so many things up on my computer screen. Where did you go? I don't see you.
I just, put him, I'm putting the thing towards him. He's laying
Oh,
on
there
the
he is. Okay, I got it. I found him. Okay, so I can just go through you. So is there something going on specific with Tucker?
Well, he is he's a foster dog. I've had him about a month, and he has some medical issues. And I just, he seems very laid back, but I guess his medical issues, he has oh sure, now I can't even, with the adrenal glands. He has Addison's disease, and so it's real hard to detect unless unless he shows some signs of something.
Okay.
He seems relaxed, and as I said, he's only been here a month, and I'm just, wondering, I guess, how he's doing.
Okay. Well, we'll clear is I don't know enough about all these different things, but I believe Addison's is an autoimmune disorder. And so keeping their immune system as healthy as possible is important, which means keeping the chakras clear. That first and second, third chakras are really important. The digestive system is really important. Having them on good food is really important. So but we can keep his energy going.
Yeah,
Okay.
he has raw food for supper feeding, and he has a good kibble for breakfast. So
Okay, good. So let me just clear for Tucker. Helplessness, clearing that. Some confusion, clearing that. Abandonment, clearing that. Unsupported, clearing that. There's another nice shift. Some discouragement, clearing that. So he'd be another good one to do those tea touches on. That will keep his energy flowing. So do lots of tea touches with him. Work the ears especially if he likes that. One, it helps with the bonding and helping him settle in.
I've-
And it
I have
triggers
no-
the calming system. And that's what we need a lot of when we have an autoimmune system issues is you need to have that parasympathetic response system flowing as fully as possible because when they get into the fear-based stuff, oof, that's when you get the triggered and that's when the autoimmune uh displays itself. So we really want to keep that energy flowing and that peace and calm as much as we can get in there. So lots of tea touches with him. Okay.
he doesn't seem to, he is very calm. He seems very calm, and I want to go up to him and hug him and pet him, and but he just seems like, I don't,
Yeah.
So-
Well, they hold back, and I didn't tell him. Since you said you're fostering him, meaning that you're looking for another home, possibly.
I don't know yet.
Right. So I don't want to tell them this is a forever home. I don't like lying to them because then that really
Right,
screws them up. That's another abandonment. So for right now, he's in a safe place.
Yeah.
And that's what we want him to know that he's in a loving home and you love him and you're caring for him. And that's all we we know for right now. For right now, he's in a good place and that he can receive all your good energy from him. But the T touch will help with that. But yeah, these dogs that are animals that are in foster care and they're not in their forever home yet, they don't want to give their full heart yet, so that's probably why he's going, I'm not quite, I'm not going to give you everything. So
we were told that he was never real, one to be cuddly or whatever, and he seems like I want to cuddle him, But
well, the T touch may get him to do that, but I think too, they know sometimes when, oh no, this isn't my forever home. I'm not doing that. And it's no, I don't want to give you everything and then get sent away. So
yeah,
that's their background, and they don't want to do that until they know that they're in their forever home. And even then, sometimes not every dog will, if they've had multiple changes, they just, nope, not doing that. And then others finally will give their full heart. But You just never know.
Okay.
All
thank you.
righty. Thank you for sharing. Lots of good examples here. So anything else from anybody? If not, we're going to go into the healing circle. You have a quick question. Trish, go ahead.
Hi. So,
Or
I sent a
Patty.
picture of my, oh, it's okay. Whatever works for you. It's okay with me. So I have a dog, Fergus. He's 3, and I got him during COVID. And we had an incident when he was a little under a year old where I was walking him outside in the dark. And long story short, a bird or some sort of flying thing landed on my head, and I went running down the street with Fergus screaming. And since then, Fergus is not too fond of birds and things that fly. He's very nervous around that sort of thing. And it happened when he was trying to, he was being trained outside. So when he wants to go, the bathroom outside, he's very nervous. He has to bark, 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 run back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, checking the skies that all's clear, and then he'll do his thing. But also to add another layer to that, since that's happened, he's glued to me like Velcro on material. I'm not like white on rice. I mean, he's just glued to me. My husband leaves the room, he's fine. I leave the room, he's next to me. He follows me, and I love that he follows me everywhere. It's great because I love him to pieces, but he's very nervous. If I leave the house, I discovered this fairly recently. I went downstairs, he was upstairs, and I think he thought I left. And all of a sudden I hear, oh, and it was the saddest thing. He's howling and howling. I said, Fergus, I'm home. And then he'll stop. So yeah, so he has a lot of separation anxiety too now. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, it's the day of separation anxiety issue, I guess.
yeah.
There's a theme
Mhm.
here. So again, T-touch is going to be your friend because we've got a lot of anxiety in there. So we want to get that calming system flowing. It's really important to get as much of that calming system going in. And the Velcro part in his case is somewhat, there's some animals that are Velcro because that's their job. They see it as their job is to watch over. And then there's some it's because I can't let you out of my sight because if something happens to you, oh no. It's out of fear-based separation anxiety versus I just need to, my Australian Shepherd is my Velcro dog and he keeps an eye on me, but I'm his herd. So he sees it as his job is to know where his sheep is at all times. So it's not out of anxiety. He just sees that as his job. Whereas others that get really anxious if you're can't be in their sight, that's a different energy to it. And is he an Irish Terrier? You're muted. Can't hear you.
He is an Irish Terrier.
Okay, okay. So the terrier does have a little different energy. Uh, they're a little bigger than just the little guys, but birds are one of their predators. So yes, that could be. And with that incident of you being attacked by a bird, that just scared the pants off of him. If he wore pants. So let's see. Let's clear that trauma and panic. That experience. And I'm gonna let him know that he's bigger than the birds, so he's okay. And you're probably in your area. He doesn't have to be. In. And how old was he about when this happened?
A little under a year.
Little under a year. Okay. So yeah. hmm, there's Gail probably can tell you a little more, but there's a period of it's usually around between 6 and 9, 10 months that they can kind of get a separation anxiety going. It's weird that a lot of they can be like really fine, and then all of a sudden they get I don't know if it's the hormones that kick in or what, but they can just get that separation stuff kicks in, and it's sometimes almost clear out of the blue. Sometimes it's an incident that can cause it. Um, so the young youth part of it, and then timing it with this incident, I think that was kind of a triggering point, like you said. Um, so it's a dual thing that's going on. I'm listening to him. Because he does see his job as you, taking care of you.
It's funny you should say that because when we got him, I experienced a lot of losses. I lost my parents and my son's father. My son's father was passing, and then after we got him, he passed. So he's dealt with a lot of grief in our house. It's interesting.
Okay.
I think you're
So-
spot on.
So but again, it's okay to have that job of being your support and your therapy dog and stuff. But
Mhm.
we don't need it to be where he's the sponge. And that's where it is like, if I'm not there, I'm not taking care of you. So I'm going to tell him that you will let him know when you need his help. And his job is just to be sweet, relaxed, cute, have fun, feel safe and secure. There's a shift. Good. So important to, okay. Um, change the game. Okay. Teach him to do sits and stays or waits. I like waits. There's a difference. I'd make a difference between stay and wait, but do both because it's good practice for them anyway. But in the stay, you start building up separation. So you do both. Yes, train both. And they're two different commands. So the stay is you put them in a sit or a down, and then you slowly, go back a step, and then you come back and release them, and lots of praise and a goodie or something, but you mix it up. So he's got to practice staying in a spot, and then you build up so that you can actually go out of the room into the kitchen or someplace where he can't see you and quickly come back, and you just build up length of time. So now you're teaching him that you can go away and then you come back. And that's all good. And it's lots of rewards when he does it right. The wait is you put him in the sit and or down, you build up length of time, and then you recall him. You have him come to you. That's the difference. The wait means you can release him and he comes to you. The stay means you stay there until I come back. That teaches him not only those important skills, but it teaches him the separation. And then I make the wait. I do hide and seek games with my guys. I put them in a sit and a wait and in a place where they can't see me, and I go hide someplace in my house. And then they have to come find me. And I have a small house, so it's pretty easy to find me. But if I get a good hiding spot, oh my goodness, it's fun. And then when they find me, it's yay, yay, yay. But it's a game. Instead of now anxiety and worry, it's a game. And I'm kind of keeping an eye on it. So if I feel like the anxiety is kicking in, I come out of hiding. I don't want that worry to come in. I want to keep it as a fun thing. So then now I take it outside and I do the same thing with recalls and stuff like that, sit night stays. Um, I hide behind a tree. They know exactly where I am, but it's a fun game. So turn it around, okay, and make it a fun thing, and then you build that separation for it. And that can be true with you other folks too that have separation. Make it a game with them. And then also it builds really good recalls. I also, when I'm outside, I run away from them I put them in a sit and a wait, and I recall them and I run away. Or even if they're not in a wait, they're ignoring me. If they're ignoring me, I start running away from them, and then oh, it came on, and they chase me down. So again, those are good things so that if they get off leash and running around and you want them to come back, they go back into those games. I don't run to them, I run away from them. So because we practice that game and they go, oh, game on, mom's running away. And I'm really slow, so they catch me really fast. So so those are
Thank
some
you.
ideas for you. Okay. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
and interesting to see how you guys make out with any of those. All righty. Anything else, folks? All right. Then if not, then we'll go into the healing circle. Let me